Hello friends, welcome to the session 15, BRD, Business Requirement Document. The agenda of the session is understanding requirements analysis. What is actually analysis of requirement and why do we do requirement analysis? Then business requirement document, BRD. BRD versus functional requirement specification or FSD, functional specification document or functional requirement document. Then BRD components, what should be there in the BRD, what should be avoided, and the purpose of packaging the requirements. So this is all the agenda of the session of this particular session number 11. So understanding requirements analysis. See, basically what this frequent, this business requirement analysis consists of or involves is the communication with the users to understand what we have collected, to specific feature expectations, what they are expecting from our system. So requirement analysis involves frequent communication with system users to determine specific feature specification and resolution of conflict or ambiguity in requirements as demanded by various users or groups, maybe a group of users also. Why we do that? To avoid feature creep and help in documentation of all aspects of the project development process from start to finish. So analysis basically is putting the things together after the things have been collected, after the expectations have been collected from various sources. It just imagine the situation is we have an interview document lying in front of us, we have a group discussion outcome lying in front of us. So we have everything on a workshop table, and now we are analyzing each and everything, and we are scrutinizing and putting the thing in sequence, so that now we understand from start to finish how the project is going to move. So the requirement analysis is a team effort that demands a combination of hardware, software, and human factors engineering expertise, as well as skills in dealing with people. So because you are going to analyze everything, you are going to put the things together and prepare a document out of it. So therefore this is a high time that it required that human handling skills, people handling skills, understanding of expectations, combination of hardware, software, whatever it is. It requirement analysis talks about all these aspects. So what is requirement analysis? What do we do in requirement analysis, and why do we do that? What is the objective of doing this requirement analysis? The process of studying and analyzing the customer and the user needs which have been gathered or which have been elicited to arrive at a definition of the problem domain and the system requirements. Okay, why do we do it? The objective of requirement analysis is to discover the boundaries of the new system, means the interface and then external or internal interface and everything, scope. It includes everything. By gathering the requirement, by obtaining the requirement, we do analysis just to discover the boundaries and detect and resolve conflicts between the user requirements if they exist at all. Then negotiate priorities of the stakeholders. What, like as I said earlier, putting the thing in sequence. What is going to be the sequence, or what is going to be the order of the development process? Where it is going to start from, where it is going to end. So flow, identifying that. As I said, requirement gathering. After that requirement gathering, we prepare the analysis, we do that analysis, and then we prepare the process model also. So that is why we are understanding now analysis part. After that we will prepare a document, and then we understand the process flow also, the process modeling. So prioritize and triage the requirements. Then we have an elaborate system requirements defined in the requirement specification document, such that managers can give realistic project estimates and developers can design, implement, and test. Our job is not designing, our job is not developing that. Our job is to precisely
pinpointedly in a very structured manner come out with a document after analyzing. So the prioritization and everything is to be done. So that is our job. So after requirement elicitation is done, we have to analyze and put them in a document. After the requirement analysis, will straight away go for the document. Classify requirements information into various categories. After getting that, analysis comes also involves the classification of the information which we have elicited into various categories, and allocate requirements to the subsystems, means the flow. So this is the whole objective of requirement analysis which we do after the requirement gathering has been done. So evaluate requirements for desirable qualities, whether the requirement has that quality in terms of implementation part, in terms of any repercussions in future feasibility. So that evaluation of the requirement is done in this requirement analysis phase. Then questions. We have seen how to specify requirement in terms of structure, standard, and writing rules. But how do we identify real problems to solve the in the elicitation results? So the problem in solving the result or the outcome, the problem which have come out of elicitation process. Now, how to identify the real problems, how to detect conflicting aspects of the problems or the solutions or the whatever come out of that. So there might be conflicting aspects of the system. So how to detect that, how to negotiate to resolve the conflicts. Someone has to back, okay, someone has to prioritize, okay, this can be compromised and this feature cannot be compromised. So someone has to negotiate the, and how to negotiate to resolve the conflict is going to be interesting aspect of this. How to decide what is important and what is a priority. So, and how to ensure that nothing is forgotten after we have gathered and everything. So these are the interesting questions in analysis part when we do the analysis of the requirement. How to validate that findings of the analysis are good, and how to use models in this context, which we are going to study in the next session, process modeling. So these are the questions which we should answer, and if we get the answers of these questions, we are ready to go for the business requirement document. So how to find the real problems? Why root cause analysis we are doing? What is the problem? So why we are doing the root cause, and define recursively maybe one factor, and then one within that factor maybe another factor within that factor. That is called recursion, problem within problem or system within system. So determine recursively the factors that contribute to the problems found by the stakeholders. The causes do not all have the same impact nor the same weight, because there might be regions which have their own impact or own weight, but they don't have same impact or same weight. Some may perhaps not deserve to be corrected, at least for the moment. At least we can go on the floor and we can start the development of the system. So we may ignore them at this point in time, and then goal oriented modeling can help understand these causes and their relationships. So because ultimately we are focusing on one thing, that is what is our goal, what is the objective, whole objective. So this modeling, if we can come out with some process model to start from start to end, that will help understanding these causes and their relationships. This analysis identifies problem that needs to be solved. So this is what the whole objective of analysis, requirement analysis, is that we need to identify the gaps, identify the conflicts, and we need to resolve them, solve them, or set a priority so that we can come out with a document that how it is going to happen, final document. What is requirement specification? The invention and definition of the behavior of a new system. We call it as a solution domain. such that it will produce the required effects in the public domain, in the problem domain, sorry. Like start from knowledge of the problem domain and required effects determined by elicitation and the analysis. Generally, it involves the modeling. If you can see the diagram, we have a diagram where we have a interface where we are working. We have solution system which include the hardware and software. Okay, and interface is the system or specification description of the solution system needed to satisfy the problem domain, and the problem domain is domain properties or the requirement that comes in the problem domain. So as I was talking about other day, the earlier the overlap. So problem domain, interface and solution system, they have some kind of interface where they interact with each other, the problem and the solution. So the interface is the specification, interface is the description of solution needed to satisfy the problem domain. So generally involved modeling results in the specification document, and precise expression of requirements may include models. That is how we define requirements specification. A requirement analysis. Now what we have understood so far is that yes, we have done elicitation, we have to do the analysis. So problem analysis is development of product vision and project scope. We go for the product problem analysis, and then analyze or do the analysis, and analysis elicitation feed each other. Like we have elicitation which we have done so far, then we take note on elicitation, so we call them elicitation notes. We do the analysis, out of which will come out requirement specifications, and then from again analysis if we are done, we may have questions and points to consider. We again go for gathering the requirement, again go to the same team and resolve the conflicts. So elicitation and analysis, they feed each other. Outcome of elicitation is input to the analysis, and there might be some conflicts or gaps, and to avoid that and to solve that, to resolve that, we have to go again for the elicitation or gathering the requirements or elicitation of the requirements. Out of final, once this process is over between the elicitation and the analysis, then we come out with something known as requirement specification. This diagram actually help you in understanding the overall flow and the difference and objective of elicitation and analysis. So elicitation is a raw, in a way gathering just all the facts, and analysis is putting them in a sequence, and so that we come out with the requirement specifications. That is why we, after this analysis is done, we come out with the BRD. Analysis go hand in hand with modeling, because after the analysis what we will do is we'll go for the modeling of the process. If there is any process which requires to be modeled or to flow is to be created out of that model, then we go after this analysis part. Okay, just verification, everybody is able to hear? Yes, everybody, can you hear me? Just to confirm. Okay, thanks. Now business requirements document. A typical IT project level BRD document expresses the requirements of the business customers and stakeholders of a new project. It summarizes the business regions and undertaking of the project, and it answers the questions: what problem do the business customers want to solve, or what job does the business customer want to accomplish, and describe the constraints or any proposed solution from a business perspective. As you see, this last sentence which I just talked about is outcome of the analysis, because it proposes the solution from the business perspective after the problem analysis and requirement gathering and analysis. So we come out with a proposed solution. It is used to communicate to internal or to external technology providers what ultimate solution will need to do to satisfy the customer and business needs. So this is a template. This is a 15-page template which I'm going to share with you. So you can start with this, understanding this. This is a typical flow of BRD, and like project name and the business requirement document. What we do is look at that versions and approvals. So we start with the details. We create a table, blank table, version number and date, revised by and regions for change, because this is an ongoing process. So we may need to change, we may need to customize it, and we may need to add or remove. So because this is always upgraded again and again. All right. So this document has been approved as the official business requirement document for project name, and accurately reflects the current understanding of business requirement. Following approvals of the document, requirement changes will be governed by the project change management process. So this is the approval process, document approvals. Who have done approval? Approval name, project role, structure or signature of or electronic approval, and the date of approvals. As I said, we must take the approvals. Now you will not find it uncomfortable and something which you have never heard of. You will find everything you have heard of it. We have understood each and everything out of this. Table of content, that was summary. Now project details, overview, document process, resources, sorry, glossary of terms. Now project overview and background, project dependencies, stakeholders, key assumptions and constraints, and then use cases, business requirements, business process flow, business rules catalog, models, metrics, traceability matrix. We have understood each and everything. Now we have done traceability matrix, we have done business rules, we have done process flow. Only model is left, we are going to do that also. Use case is pending, we are going to do that also. Other than that, we have covered, I have covered almost everything. Then comes the project details, project name, project type, like it is a new process or a new initiative or phase 2 or phase 1 or whatever. Project start date, project end date, project sponsor, primary driver, maybe mandatory or efficiency, and then secondary driver, who has driven this project, because who has initiated the project. Then division, then project manager or department. Then comes the overview of the project. It is a blank template, and hope this flow, this document will help you. Okay, this is how we are going to prepare it. All right. This document defines the high level requirement. Now document resources, then we have glossary of terms, project overview. I hope this is going to help you out, guys, because we have studied each and every component. So the entire flow, how to prepare it. To share this document, so you will study this and analyze this. You can look at the use case graphics. So, and this is a flow business requirement which we have talked about: business user requirement, reporting requirements, user access and security requirements, service level performance requirements, scalability requirements. The requirement part, when I was talking about support and maintenance requirements, all are categorized. Then we have a business process flow, and then we have this as is a diagram, what the current state is, and what the future state would be. So to be analysis, what is the system going to be, right? So that is the point. So this and business rules catalog, what business rules we have. Then we have models, then traceability matrix. So everything, the component by we have studied each and every component. So you can, after going through this document, I'm sure you will be in a better position to understand the BRD and write a BRD, because we have gone through each and every aspect of this BRD now. Okay, now let me stop this here and come out with a continue with the session. Yes, huh. Yes, requirement everything. BRD is basically consist of everything. You see, everything was there, Nadeem. Even the process model, use cases, they were probably the appendixes or the additional document, but they were there part of this, right? Yes, yes, yes. So the business requirement document, it is used to communicate to, as I discussed. So we were here at this point and I covered this part. Now let's move on. Business requirement document continued. When people first begin writing business requirement documents, now you have the picture of the document. Now you have a template in your mind. Now onward, whatever I'm going to explain, you will have that document in your mind, and concept should be very clear after explanation. When the people first begin writing business requirement document, they have problems because they feel they are repeating themselves, but that is exactly what you are expected to do. The secret is to repeat yourself, but from a different angle specific to the section you are writing, because you will find that repetition everywhere, but the approach is different, mindset is different. Okay, the characteristics of a BRD, which we have, I have just discussed a template. One is unitary or cohesive. The requirement address one and only one thing. If each one requirement should be clear about one thing. Then complete. Requirement is fully stated in one place with no missing information about that. One requirement should not have a continuity, like this requirement is continued on page number 72 or so on. They should, that one requirement, once it is discussed, should be complete there at that point. Consistent. Requirement does not contradict any other requirement and is fully consistent with all authoritative external documentation. Then non-conjugated. The requirement is atomic in nature. It does not contain conjunctions. For example, the proposal code, the postal code field must have validate America and Canadian postal codes. This is not a requirement. It should be written as two separate requirements. Like one, the postal code field must validate American postal codes, and second requirement, the postal code field must validate Canadian postal code. So this is not one requirement. Probably from non-IT people, you may say it is one and the same thing. For me, it is not the same thing. We have two requirements clubbed together into one. That is not there, and that should not be there. It should be atomic in nature. One requirement, one description. Then verifiable. The implementation of the requirement can be determined through one of the four possible methods: inspection, demonstration, test, or analysis. This should be verifiable by any of these methods. So these are the characteristics, overall characteristics of the BRD which I have discussed, the template and the BRD which we are going to write. So let's go step by step. Problem definition, the business need. It is a broad overview of what is required and what is the problem to be solved. For example, display product information for the website. For example, to sell products from start to finish, or maybe order products or materials from suppliers, or maybe simply a customer service process. So this is a problem definition. So we need to define that, and in precise manner in the BRD. Then stakeholders and their roles, it was there mentioned. If you notice that document, the stakeholders are listed in the BRD. In theory, anyone who impacted by decision or able to prevent decision action from occurring. In practice, those with vested interest in either the issue or their relationship with those making the decision. So that means that should be documented, not in theoretical part. Whatever we feel in practice, that should be documented. So anybody with a vested interest in either the issue or their relationship with those making the decision of working in the system or deciding on the system that we have to go ahead with the system, they are the real stakeholders. Scope is a definition of limits or boundaries of a project. We have understood this earlier also. And regions, it is so important because poor management of the project scope is one of the major causes of the project failure. I am the better example of this because I have seen this scope not defined earlier, and this is a major issue with the Indian client. I can quote my Indian clients here with respect to this concept, because whenever I decide something, they are more on focus is how much money we have to pay, how much money we have to pay, and the cost and the cost and the cost, nothing else. Now, when they say about the requirement, they come out with, oh, that's okay, we will be okay with this, that is okay, this will be okay, and this is fine. But when you start working on the project, you take some advance and start working on the project without any document, without any such scope specifications. Because here we have a word of mouth, here we have a client who go by trust, who go by your name. Then finally they will come out, this was expected from you, this was understood, why, how can you do this, I need this, without which I will not pay you. The problem is that, so to avoid all these conflicts and problems in future, we must have a document and we must create a scope. We should not go by the face value. This section details the project is going to deliver. Essentially, it is a big picture view of the project. A clear, well-defined scope will enable suppliers and clients to react in a formal agreement, to reach a formal agreement on the scope with the stakeholders, and it will avoid this scope creep. So this is what the scope creep. And what is scope creep? Is scope creep is when unauthorized or budgeted tasks lead to uncontrolled alterations in the documented requirement during the course of the project. That is scope creep. For example, look at the diagram that says, can you make the website look more of Web 2 compliance? And then the solution provider is saying, I can add a shiny button. Oh, he said, okay. That is an example of a scope creep. And this was obviously this was not documented. Since it was not documented, I'll call it as scope creep. So the scope creep is when unauthorized or unbudgeted task lead to uncontrolled alterations to the documented requirement during the course of the project. The business requirement document should address the possibility of request for additional tasks in a project and state how will they be dealt with. This usually involves a formal change request procedure. So therefore we must have some additional process involved, the request for change within the document itself. Okay, that is called evolving. So we should have our BRD evolving, because the document should also suggest if there is any change, how the change should be brought to the notice of the stakeholders and the service provider. So there should be a procedure for that also. So change request procedure that require the agreement of all stakeholders to any change of specification, budget or delivery time. The fact that business requirement document is a formally approved document assists the project manager in implementing and sticking to the change request procedure. That is what scope creep is. So we should avoid that. Business objectives in the BRD, start with the parent requirement. Then easiest way to think of this is to ask yourself, what is the objective of this particular website or project, or what are the goals we have for this website or the project. That is the business objective. Then finally we have available resources. What is available to help fulfill the project or the website requirements, like existing hardware, software, content, template, color scheme, the infrastructure, everything, all inclusive. Okay, available resources. Then constraints, these are all components of the BRD which we have to write, which you will find in the template also. What are the limiting factors of the websites or the project? Almost always there are three constraints. For one is time, second is budget, and third is skill. But there may be more than these three are a good points to begin with, like time constraint. We must deliver this project in 3 months. We must deliver this project before 25th of December, or we must finish it by 31st March. So this is time constraint. Budget, we cannot go beyond this budget because our funds, we have been able to raise funds up to this level. We cannot allocate more budget to this project. So therefore budget and the skill set required to deliver this project again is going to be part of this. So these are the constraints which we must write in the BRD. Then list of assumptions we should write. What you have assumed when writing the BRD document, business requirement document. Assumptions should also be validated, because assumptions are risks. Any assumptions identified is a risk identified. Don't take assumptions avoid assumptions, and if they are, must clearly write them. For example, assumption: video on demand website will be free of charge for to the users and will not rely on a registration for the service. So it is not mandatory. Anybody will be able to watch the video on demand, and there will be no cost. To be validated by person, and what is the status? Is it confirmed or is it open? Right now, decision is not taken finally. And comment: believed by brand marketing to be the case, why it has been done. So you can put comments also. Same way, the new website will allow 10-second ads to be inserted in a video clip on the fly. Who validated, or to be validated by status is open. The research still ongoing regarding the maximum length of the ad which will be inserted after 10 seconds. Okay, the advertisement resource will be available from project initiation to project support. The development resource will be available. So who has the validated it, to be validated by, and the status, and agreed subject to the project being initiated by September 2009. So these are all examples and list of assumptions. So we must write down in a proper tabular manner so that we understand each and everything aspect of this project. Then specific requirement. Specific requirements are the business process objectives broken down into specific tasks. A requirement is a singular document need of what a particular product or service should be, or it should do. It is a statement that identifies a necessary attribute, capability, characteristics, or quality of a system in order for it to have values and utility to a user. So we must write the specific requirements. You may have gone down too far in your business objective, in which case you should copy and paste if you already done so. Then we have functional requirements. We have understood this functional requirement also categorically. We have done a lot of work on this. Describe the functionality that the system is to execute. For example, formatting some text or modeling a signal. They are sometimes known as capabilities. We have understood this part now. Then we have non-functional requirements. These are all part of the BRD, and what is included in the BRD, what should be included in the BRD, and what should not be. We have discussed each and every aspect of this now, whatever we are going down right now. Describe the characteristics of the system that the user cannot affect or immediately perceive. Non-functional requirements are sometimes also known as quality requirements. Then we have wrap up or closure of the document. Conclusion, basically your introduction but another angle. Glossary, definitions of terms that readers may not be familiar with. Bibliography, source of information referenced in the document. That's what this BRD is all about. Thank you very much, friends.